Hey everyone, Clay here. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. The last time Sean and I were together, we recorded this off-the-cuff episode about Tim Burton and his legacy involving Batman. We were going to save it for something down the line, but it being the 30th anniversary of Batman 89, we figured now is as good a time as any to put it out. So we're going to do that this week, and then next week we'll be back with the regularly scheduled programming with Robin's Reckoning. All right, thanks guys, enjoy. Welcome again to the BATTASS podcast, the Batman the Animated Series show podcast, where we talk about Batman the Animated Series. But today we have a special episode for you. We're going to be talking about Tim Burton and his impact on Batman the character. My name's Clay McCormick, and with me is
your drunk friend Sean.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't. You don't want to give the whole game away right away.
So we were. Clay's up. We're trying to record season 2 mostly in person. So far, we've pretty much stuck to that. We went to this restaurant. We were chatting about whatever. We've had a lot of vodka, beer, whatever. And we just finished playing Super Nintendo Batman games. Mm-hmm. And we had
like adults.
Yeah, as adults do on Fridays. And we kind of wanted to record something else.
Like cool adults.
Yeah, not like regular adults.
Yeah.
I'm a cool mom. And I had this Tim Burton Batman poster from Suncoast Video in the 90s. Most of you probably don't know what that is. And we were starting to talk about Tim Burton. I said, maybe we should just save this for a podcast. We could record it for special whatever. So here it is. Mm-hmm. We have no notes or anything. We just want to talk about Tim Burton, 89 Batman, what it meant to us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I need notes, because if you cut me, I bleed Batman 89. So, Batman 89, I remember, I have a very vague memory of seeing it in the theater, which I would have been 5.
Right.
I don't know why my parents took me to see that at 5.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I might be making it up, but I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater at 5. And it has always been that's my Batman. Mm-hmm. That's my preferred look, more or less.
Yeah.
If it comes to comics, I might have a different thought about things, but generally, the 89 Batman is the Batman look that I prefer. Perfect length ears.
Oh, yeah. Good shadows on the eyebrows.
Yeah.
The fact that he can't turn his head, I don't care.
No, because it makes it better, because then he has to look more dramatic when he turns.
Right.
But yeah, it set the template for the cartoon, which is obviously why we're here.
Right.
And in retrospect, knowing more about the character and the history of the character and what, a quote unquote good Batman story should be,
right,
it might not be the best Batman movie if you want to be super.
If you're gonna nitpick, it's probably not technically, academically the best. Yeah. But it got a lot of points for what it did well, and it was the first. I mean, what a way to end the '80s, for
right?
One thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing that kind of was so different about it, that again translated into the cartoon, is it creates this sort of like out of time era that Gotham City and Batman takes place in, where it's modern, but it's got a lot of Art Deco kind of look to it, like old cars and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, the timelessness of Batman, especially with the animated series, it's very deliberately timeless. They have modern, a lot of modern technology, but they have black and white TVs. Mm-hmm. People wear bowler hats. There's like 1920s deco. It's meant to be an amalgam of different eras, quite deliberately, and it works well. And as much as I love the Chris Nolan stuff,
Just run through all the names.
It feels like New York. It feels like Chicago, and I get it. I love it. It's awesome, but if I'm going to be a snob, I prefer the look of this movie and the 3 blocks that they built.
Yeah.
And they very obviously do car chases with a very limited space.
Anything in downtown Gotham, the Monarch Theater, you can see it in the background because there's about maybe a quarter mile worth of Gotham City that they
Or the
built.
2 giant statues of guys pulling levers. And it's very, I mean, it's amazing. I guess in my perfect Batman movie, it would be this thinking about the city, but it would be expanded times 10, basically. You know?
Yeah.
Do you remember when you first saw it?
Yeah, I think I went when I was 5. I think was the first time, but I don't think it really stuck to me until I got the movie on VHS.
All right, yeah.
And then I watched it many times. There was a point in my life where I actually challenged somebody to do this in college. You know, like you do to make friends.
I think I know where this is going.
Where I said, pick any point in this movie and hit pause, and I will tell you the next line.
All right.
And I did it every time.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
The next line is they jump into the Batmobile and they drive away.
He says, get in the car. And she goes, which one? And then you reveal the car.
Okay. Well, I don't have the movie in front of me.
Well, what was this challenge about?
It's been a while. It's been like 15 years. I don't know it as well as I used to.
Oh man, I thought that would go over better.
Yeah, but you know, there's Tim Burton's influence on Batman. I don't think you can really undersell. Well, maybe you can now because I think Chris Nolan has kind of taken over.
Yeah.
But for a while, he created this sort of definitive world.
Right.
I don't know how much it really bled into the comics, but it spawned off the cartoon, and what the strange thing about it though is by the time you get to Batman Returns, it's actually changed quite a bit. And I think the difference between Batman 89 and Batman Returns is really interesting, because Batman 89 feels like he's sort of playing by the rules to an extent.
Yeah.
And Batman Returns feels like, okay, Tim Burton got to make a Batman movie.
Yeah. Which is why I prefer the first one.
Yeah. I think it depends on I like them both. I wouldn't say I like them equally. I like the first one better. I think Jack Nicholson as the Joker is all-time.
Yeah.
All-timer. But I think the second one is so weird.
Yeah.
That it's really and it is so pure. I don't want to say pure because there's a little bit of filter there, but it's much more Tim Burton than the first one.
But see, this is what blows my mind is Warner Brothers knew they wanted to make this a big blockbuster. Mm-hmm. They get the guy that did Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yep. Beetlejuice.
They cast Mr. Mom. Mm-hmm. Burton never read a Batman comic, he said.
That doesn't surprise me.
If you told me we're going to have Prince do the soundtrack, I would have said, that doesn't sound like Batman.
No.
Like, there's a lot of reasons why this shouldn't work. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it was headed for disaster. And I get this information because I read a book that Tim Burton wrote about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And he said the first time he ever met what we call fanboys today, like hateful, venomous fanboys, is when they went to some show and Michael Keaton was there. It had been announced that Mr. Mom was going to be Batman. Mm-hmm. And the nerds, this is pre-internet, obviously, in 88 or 89, they hated it. Yeah. They were so venomous towards it. And, obviously now it's, in hindsight, he was a great cast for Batman.
That's how it always goes, except with the exception of George Clooney.
Yeah. But it's just crazy to me that Warner Brothers is like, we have a lot of money. We want to make this a big hit. We're paying a lot of money for Jack Nicholson. Okay, sure. Whatever. Let's get Mr. Mom. Let's get Beetlejuice to do this. Let's hire this weird emo guy who basically spawned Hot Topic to direct it. Mm-hmm. And let's just get Prince to do the soundtrack. All right, go.
Yep.
That sounds like a disaster.
Sure does.
But it worked.
Yep. I don't know what to tell you. Complete bafflement.
Yeah.
They gave a tentpole movie to I hesitate.
Like an art school kid.
Yeah, I don't want to call him an art house director because the movies he did were studio movies, like Pete. Well, maybe not Pee Wee, but Pee Wee's a fairly studio movie. Beetlejuice is a studio movie, even though they're weird still.
Yeah.
But they gave like the biggest property they had at the time.
Yeah.
That had so much riding on it.
Right.
To the guy that did Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
And I feel like he set the template for what people doing that since then, but no one who has been in that sort of comparable kind of director has been as successful.
Right.
Like for some reason he just got it.
Yeah.
And he figured it out and he did it and he had the right people around him.
Yeah.
But like they've done that since then. They've given they gave the first Wolverine movie to a like an indie guy who made a really great movie called Hard Candy, and that movie's terrible.
Yeah,
and you know they've done it along the way, and it hasn't worked out the same way. But for some reason,
right,
Tim Burton and Batman just click.
If you had said to Tim Burton in 1988, "Hey, we're going to give you this big superhero franchise. It's called Spider-Man. You go do your quirky Hot Topic thing." He'd be like, okay, great, whatever. I don't care. Give me a superhero. I'll make it mine. It wouldn't have worked.
Nope.
But because it's Batman.
Well, they tried to do it with Superman.
And
yeah.
It worked because Batman is supposed to be dark and unusual. And the Joker is goofy.
Yeah.
So I think that Burton got sort of saved by the nature of the project by just... Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say luck because I know he worked his ass off.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it luck. I think just the designs and the ideas of the Batman characters are much more well suited to his wheelhouse.
Right.
Like the Joker, I can imagine a concept drawing that Tim Burton does of the Joker.
Right.
It's basically Jack Skellington but with purple. You know?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And the Penguin, 100%. Like his version of the Penguin is very much a Tim Burton character.
In any Tim Burton movie, there's always the Tim Burton drawing come to life.
Yes.
I remember watching Planet of the Apes, and I'm like, this is pretty standard sci-fi. I don't see any Tim Burton. And then they get into this part where they're in the desert and they come across these weird trees. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a Tim Burton tree. Yeah. Okay. Or you see a character with like striped white and black stockings, or some goth girl, or there's always a Tim, like, suddenly the plot slams on the brakes and like, all right, everyone, here's Tim Burton's drawing.
Yeah. I still remember at the end of Sleepy Hollow, there's a scene where Christina Ricci like gets out of a carriage or something, and she's wearing a beautiful Victorian dress or 17th, 18th century dress, but it's black and white. It's basically the Beetlejuice outfit. And it's like, there it is. Yeah.
My conspiracy theory is that Tim Burton owns a big slice of Hot Topic.
Well, you know, what's really interesting to me is it goes to show you how not even the people in charge understood why that worked.
Right.
Because they gave him Superman, or they tried to give him Superman.
Yeah.
Which is the last character I would ever give to Tim Burton.
Right.
As much as I like him and I like the stuff that he does, not in a million years would I say, you know what? You know who should do a Superman movie? Tim Burton.
Right, yeah. No, so as far as superhero movies that I would give Tim Burton, I would give him Daredevil. I'd give him Wolverine. Not the
Ghost Rider?
I'd give him Ghost Rider,
yeah,
for sure.
That'd be cool.
There's certain characters that I'm like, all right, what could you do your thing on? And it won't completely...
I'd give him an X-Men movie.
Yeah.
I bet he would make a really weird... Like, if you gave him New Mutants or something, where he didn't have to be...
Yeah.
Stuck in the traditional X-Men thing.
Right.
I bet he would make a really cool New Mutants movie.
Yeah, it's not what you would expect, but I could imagine him coming out with a product that's like, this is pretty good. This is different. You know?
Yeah. The other thing that shocks me about, at least, well, I guess both, but specifically the first 89 Batman, is that the script for that movie is not a complete mess. Because it's, if you've seen or read like the early drafts, it was very close to being a complete mess, because there was a lot of stuff that they ended up changing or cutting out that was...
Who wrote it?
Sam Hamm.
What else has he written?
No idea.
Okay. And I'm guessing like a lot of scripts, there's usually like 14 people that have taken a pass at it.
Yeah, probably.
By the time it goes into production, legally they're only obligated to credit X amount of people.
Yeah. From what I've seen, it seems like there was a lot of stuff that feels fairly studio mandated.
Yeah.
Like there was a whole cut sequence where Batman is chasing the Joker, and the Joker ends up like careening his way through a circus, and in the process ends up killing Dick Grayson's parents. Okay. So it was like there, which screams to me like a suit being like, well, we got to get Robin in the movie,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
And then thankfully they decided not to do that. But
yeah, that's the thing I think about a lot is the suits versus the creative types. And that's what you have in Tim Burton is like massively awkwardly creative. And how does he collide with the suits? Mm-hmm. And I can imagine some of those meetings that must have taken place. Like, really, Jack Nicholson, you think it'd be a Joker? All right.
He'll do it, but we have to give him like every bit of money the movie makes has to go to him.
So I didn't know that. So my Joker has always been named. I know that they don't like to name him, but if you had to name him, I thought it was Jack Napier.
Yeah.
I thought that because of, the Batman 89, because the animated series calls him that.
Do they?
Yeah, in 1 or 2 episodes and in one of the movies, they go through Jack Napier. So I thought, when sorry, I'm not trying to make spill my book. When I picked Joker, I'm like, all right, we got to give him a name. We'll just go with Jack Napier. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea that this is the first time that name had been used in a comic outside of a adaptation of the 89 Batman.
Yeah, I think I asked you like 4 times when you sent me the script. So like, are they going to let you do this?
I didn't know it was a big ask,
Yeah, because my understanding is that Jack Nicholson gets gets money anytime something involving Batman 89 is used or makes money.
Right.
But I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that contract ran out or something.
In my royalty checks, I don't see deductions for Jack Nicholson, so that's good.
He comes to your house and he just asks you for 38 cents.
Hey, Sparky, heard you've been using a likeness.
Hello, Gotham Corner Store. Yes, we seem to be down to our last Diet Coke. A gentleman is on his way to pick some up. Just look for a black car. No, this black car will be rather difficult to miss. And by the way, the gentleman is usually in quite a rush. Just for the taste of it,
Diet Coke. So I never really thought about the difference between the first one and the second one. Mm-hmm. And when you said how the second one is sort of like Burton Unleashed, where he got to design the clowns and the penguins and the penguin himself. And Catwoman, like you can totally see his, just running amok on everything.
Yeah. It's oddly, it's less restrained, I think, as far as the Tim Burton aesthetic than the first one is.
Yeah.
And his production designer on the first one was a guy named Anton Furst, who was responsible for that really great kind of industrial look to Gotham City and everything.
Right. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he killed himself, I believe, between the 2 movies. Yeah. So it's a different team on the second one, and I feel like he definitely, and you can kind of tell, like it's the second one feels a lot more like it's on a set than the first one does.
Right.
It feels a little bit glossier.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of grit to Gotham City in the first one.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you've got the Penguin, who is definitely a Tim Burton character. Catwoman, that design is definitely a Tim Burton design.
Yeah.
Or feels like it anyway.
Yeah.
I think, doesn't Christopher Walken even wear like a very subtly like striped suit?
Yeah.
At a certain point.
Subtle.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's subtle.
Yeah. So it's all there.
Yeah. I guess I like, so the Tim Burton movies that are my favorite are this, or 89, Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas. I think those are my top 3.
Didn't direct that one.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He was the producer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I guess Beetlejuice. But yeah, post 1992, I'm not sure. I'm a big Burton fan.
Yeah, I love Sleepy Hollow. I really enjoy Sleepy Hollow because I'm a big fan of the Hammer horror movies from like the 60s, the British, Dracula movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And Sleepy Hollow is basically a Hammer movie.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate. But I feel like Sleepy Hollow was the last, pure Tim Burton movie that I really enjoyed.
Right.
Yeah.
What I like about his Batman, I think the black mostly black suit makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
The yellow chest plate, sure, why not? You know, yellow belt, whatever. But I think that what I like about this is it's more of the Phantom Batman because it's unclear how he looks. It's so shadowy and dark and smoky. You don't really get a read on him a lot of times, and I like that. And I'm not so much a fan of. I love the Chris Nolan movies, but SWAT team Batman, where you can see the Kevlar, you see the pop rivets, you see this, you see that. I want to turn my neck, all that stuff. It's like I don't want to know that. Like I love some more mystery and some more vagueness to my Batman. You know,
I think that stuff to an extent is a casualty of the fact that everything is so high definition now.
That's fair.
Because the costume design for movies now is like everything down to the most minute detail has a design on it. Like I remember when the Brandon Routh Superman came out.
Right.
I saw like a behind the scenes thing where they were like, yeah, if you get in really close on the Superman symbol, it has a texture on it that's made up of all tiny little Superman symbols. I'm like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know? Or like...
it doesn't read on the screen. It shouldn't read.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that detailed. Like you're overthinking it at that point.
And the Burton Batman design is built for silhouette.
Right.
Right? You know, it's black.
Yeah.
It's shadow. You're not supposed to see... Like, let me ask you this. What does the Tim Burton Batman's legs look like?
I know, but that's because I've studied it.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's boring.
Yeah.
If
Black.
you look at the action figure or look at the design,
Yeah.
it's just boring legs and he's got kind of like some
Boots,
cool boot
some
things.
ridges around the shins.
Yeah, but it's
and-
not memorable.
Yeah.
Like anything past the belt, unless you're staring at his crotch, which you're not gonna because he's
The
got a
only
big
time
cape.
I remember his boots from the movie is when he kicks that guy in the face
Yes.
who's somersaulting towards him.
Yes, yeah.
And then a weird thing comes out of his hand where he like blocks a sword.
Yeah.
But you don't even see it.
That was my favorite thing about the DVD is I finally could figure out what the hell that was.
What was that?
I still don't know.
At least
I don't
you
know.
can figure it out.
Well, I could see it better, but I didn't know what the hell it was. It's like this weird...
Yeah,
projectile
I thought
thing.
it was a palm plate that projected, so
Yeah,
he could
something
block
like that.
something without having to actually grab it. But it was his glove should be reinforced. Like I don't think that was necessary.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It looked cool. It did its job.
yeah,
But like compare that to the Batman suit from Justice League or Batman versus Superman, where it's like it looks like it's made out of like paper mache, basically.
Yeah.
Where it's all like really striated and you can see all this texture on it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel. It feels more fake somehow. Not because it's built. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it doesn't feel built for the character or something. It feels built for a movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to get the grittiness of a Frank Miller drawing and make a costume out of it. They wanted to get away from what had been done. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have a problem with that costume.
I just think it
Everything
looked.
else.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the gray and black translates, or if it does, it didn't translate in that movie because that movie it feels like a movie costume.
What about the Schumacher one where they have shots of him turning towards the camera, showing his butt, the nipple costume, everything's glossy?
Well, yeah, I love that. Who doesn't love that?
Why wouldn't you love that?
Yeah. No, I mean obviously, once it got taken over by toy companies, it's turned into something else.
I think Schumacher, because he said, I want this to feel like a comic, and he's never read a comic. He wanted it to be like 90s version of Adam West with neon. Yeah, exactly. Lights.
The Batman and Robin is essentially an updated version of the 60s show. 100%. Yeah. Did you hear about the shit that Schwarzenegger had to go through as Mr. Freeze?
Some of it.
Where he had to they had this glowing thing in his mouth, so he had to actually have like a light in his mouth.
Right.
But the thing started leaking battery acid.
Oh, Jesus.
So he kept like spitting it out, going like, this tastes like shit or whatever. And he agreed to shave his head, and then on the day he decided he didn't want to shave his head.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So wait, did they put a cap on him?
Yeah, they put a ball cap on him.
Oh, okay.
And what was I was just reading this. I was just reading this about the movie. People were showing up to the set all the time, like, just, because it was the cool thing to do. And I think it was John Bon Jovi showed up and gave Schwarzenegger a box of Cuban cigars. And so he asked them to paint one white so he could smoke it in a scene. So there's a scene in Batman and Robin where he's at his, ice palace. He's smoking a Cuban cigar that was specifically painted the accurate ice color so he could smoke it.
How is it? I don't understand why if it's on fire, because it's giving off heat. Why would Mr. Freeze want that?
You're thinking about it. Okay. Don't think about it.
Sorry. Why is Bon Jovi there?
I don't know. Also, it's the cool place to be, I guess.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think. Do you have a preference? There's not a lot of design change in Batman himself between the first two.
Yeah, they complicated the chest symbol a bit. They gave him techie-looking abs.
Yeah,
I think Keaton put on a few pounds in between roles, in his own words.
Do you have a preference? Which Batman costume?
The first one.
First one?
Yeah.
I like the mask from the second one. I think the Batman Returns mask is really they really made it a little bit more sleek. Mm-hmm. It still has the same, it's still very aggressive. Right. It's not quite as weird and concave and stuff as the way, I don't know if that's the right word, but that it becomes later where it's like you can see the indent on the side of the head and shit. Right. But it's a little bit more form-fitting, whereas the 89 one feels like a little rougher.
Right.
So,
okay. Yeah.
But I don't like the mechanical looking abs. I like the 80, and the 89 bat symbol with that little extra flair is my favorite bat symbol that there's ever been. And it only exists in the movie. It doesn't exist in any promotional material.
Really?
It only exists in the movie.
Interesting. Yeah. So wait, what is it? The bat symbol has a couple extra flares.
Yeah, it's got the wings that come out,
yep.
And then there's it dips in once for a little point,
yep.
And then it has a little flare out, and then it comes to a point in the middle.
Tail. Yeah. Oh, it has the extra. Yeah, I thought that was Batman Returns.
Nope.
Okay. Huh. That's so funny that they missed that.
Yeah, and on all the promotional material, they simplify it just to have the one point in the middle,
which looks a lot better.
Yeah, it's probably the better move. I desperately want a T-shirt that has that bat symbol, the Michael Keaton bat symbol on it, with the extra little flare on it.
I'm sure you can make one.
I know, I gotta make one.
Just make one out of puff paint.
Just like I had in 1989.
So, Batmobile.
Yeah.
Who designed the Batmobile for this 89?
Not 100% sure, but I think it was Anton Furst.
Yeah. Who designed everything else?
I think so, yeah.
So when you draw Batman and you ask DC for references, the file that they give you basically is his drawings. Or if it's not his, it's like definitely the visuals from the 89 movie. Mm-hmm. That's the stuff they still hand out. That's the best proxy of Gotham that they give you. Now, if you don't ask for references, they won't give you anything. So if you want to draw Gotham as like London or New York or Chicago, you can do what you want. But if you ask DC, hey, send me references for Gotham, that's the file that they will send you still.
From Batman 89?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, it's just his drawings because they're so great. There's only a handful of them too, but it really is like this set designs basically for what they did in that movie. And there's a reason, like it still looks best. It's like a mix of like industrial gothic futurism, but spray painted matte black. It's great.
It's kind of surprising that that's what they send you because I feel like the comics have never really reflected the movie.
No, because it's really hard to draw that stuff.
Yeah. A lot of pipes.
Yeah, a lot of pipes, a lot of weird angles. It's easier to draw squared off brick buildings and whatever, but the stuff that like those statues they designed and the specific metal objects that are that stuff takes a lot of time, and I don't know anybody who's actually taken the time to be like, all right, let me design all my buildings around this.
Yeah.
Because I just go for like old Chicago or old London. Mm-hmm. I don't do that, so I don't even do gargoyles.
Yeah. The Batmobile was designed by Anton Furst.
Yeah.
And it is designed by Anton Furst and built on a Chevrolet Impala chassis. And some of the technical specs, which I'm sure you will enjoy, it is 6.62 meters long, 2.40 meters wide, 1.30 meters high, has a 3.58 meter wheelbase.
Okay.
And the max velocity is 147 meters per second.
Okay, so what about horsepower?
I don't know.
Oh,
Doesn't say that.
I don't care about the dimensions. I will say that the reason I love that Batmobile is because it looks good from most angles.
Yeah.
So you have the flares, the wings that come off of a Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea to have them come up over the profile of the car because then you get, no matter where you have the camera, it reads as Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
In the animated series, as much as I love that Batmobile, the flares go straight back.
Yep.
So if you're looking at it like, from 5-6 feet tall, you don't see the flares unless you're looking at it from the side. So you have to shoot the animated series Batmobile from above if you want to see those flares in the back. So it's not like...
Or from the side.
Or from the side, right. But it's like, it's not that it looks good from every angle,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I think a good car design gives you 3 design elements that are recognizable. For the Tim Burton Batmobile, it's the turbine intake at the beginning, at the front, like that big nipple, basically. You've got the profile from afar, which is like this angry car with like 2 spikes sticking out.
Big bump over the wheels.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the next thing, I guess, would be maybe the cockpit, just the shape of the thing that comes back and forth where they, the door that opens or the thing that slides forward so they can jump in. And my beef with a lot of modern Batmobile designs is they go nuts with it.
Yeah.
We're like, I don't even know what I'm looking at, man.
Again, over-designed.
Yeah, it's
Too
over-designed.
much.
Like, there's a lot of amazing things on the JLA Batmobile, but I can't see what there isn't even a clear shot of the car without any distracting. Like, in this movie, at least, which car is yours? This one. Bloop, bloop. He opens it up. You get a shot of them walking up. You're like, okay, check. That's what the car looks like. They don't even have that in the new movies. It's just like, let's just get into the action. It's all CG. It's dark. There's gunfire and explosions. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at, man.
Yeah, it has a bit of Transformers disease.
Oh, yeah.
Where,
Too many moving parts.
Again, everything is HD. You can design everything down to the pixel.
Yeah.
So they do.
Yeah.
Like, there's no... It doesn't feel like they're thinking...
Right.
What's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't feel like they are thinking about the elements in the shot as they will appear in the shot.
Right.
Like when Wes and I were covering Star Trek Discovery, one of the things that drove me nuts was how over-designed the Klingons were.
Yeah.
And they had redesigned the BATTASS, which is like a very iconic, simple weapon.
Yeah.
And to look like this really like weird coat hangery looking thing that's just like really kind of ugly and twisty and has all this shit on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it looks amazing if you have it in your hands.
Right.
And you can see all the crap that's going on.
Yeah.
But if everything else in your shot is over designed to the point that is, no one's going to see it.
It doesn't register.
And
it needs to be dumbed down for the camera a little bit. Yeah.
And the same thing happens with the modern Batman movies. Where I even think as much as I love the Tumbler, I think the Tumbler skirts the line of over designed.
The Tumbler looks good from the back, I think. We've got 4 giant tires.
Yeah.
Very easy to read. Got it. I'm looking at it from the rear. Okay. But the front of it is like the 2 big forks with the wheels, like that reads. But a lot of it's like a stealth bomber. And there's certain angles where that thing does not look good.
Yeah. And it seems incredibly hard to draw.
It is, yeah. No, I hate drawing it. I like drawing it, but you need extra time to measure it out and do it right every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of design now is done in computers, and a computer can complicate the shit out of an object.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is where the computer can tell you, well, here's how you design it to look good in a wind tunnel, to break air better, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's why cars from the 60s work a lot better, is because back then they were still carved out of clay, and it had like a handful of cool design elements, and then that's it. But when a computer designs something, it just overcomplicates the shit out of it. It's like Michael Bay with those Transformers movies. When there was a fight scene, it looks like 2 giant piles of garbage flying over, 495, like punching the shit out of each other. Like, I imagine them designing, a character, and Michael Bay storms into the room. Hey, can we add more like gizmos and whatchamacallits inside like this Transformers calves? Because it'd be really cool if you could see like the spinning turbines inside the car. Like, that would be cool, right? Right, everybody? And no one wants to say no to him.
Yeah, it's the Jurassic Park line where they were too preoccupied whether or not they could. They didn't think about whether or not they should.
Right. No, exactly. That makes the point much better. As always, Jurassic Park said it better than anyone could have said. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, life finds a way. So you said you prefer 89 over 92.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You?
Yes. I am glad that 92 or Batman Returns has its fans, because it's real weird. And I think it is iconic in a different way,
Right.
for being arguably the most it's the one superhero movie I can think of where you can of like, I'm talking ever,
Yeah.
that you can really see the thumb of the director on everything that's involved with that movie. I feel like a lot of the art, the print of the artist doesn't really come through, because usually those are giant tentpole things, and you don't get a lot. of chance to do cool stuff.
Well, I think that Schumacher's hands are all over his movies.
That's
but
fair.
It's in a
Yeah.
bad way.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. But I mean, like, he's never made a movie like that. You know, you don't look at I guess no, not even The Lost Boys comes close to the shit that he was doing on Batman. I mean, you know, it was just.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, as weird as Batman Returns is, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are way weirder.
Yeah. Although I liked Chris O'Donnell as Robin.
Yeah, he's not bad. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, that being said, do you think Batman 89 and or Batman Returns are good Batman movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In context, in the late 80s, definitely. What do you think?
Yes.
I feel like you have a spin.
Well, I was gonna.
You're going to be contrary.
I think no. I think yes, but for reasons that are different than most people might ascribe to it.
Okay.
So the people who like the Nolan movies and think that those are great Batman movies,
Right.
I would assume do not like the Tim Burton movies, or would say, oh, those aren't good Batman movies. Those are, silly, campy, whatever. Which is hilarious to think that Batman 89 is now viewed as like campy, where at the time people were like, this is the most serious take on Batman we've ever seen.
Sorry, is it campy when Joker uses a hand buzzer to fry a guy?
Yeah, it's pretty campy. Yeah.
All right. I think it's just disturbing.
I mean, yes, that too, but it's also, I mean,
Okay.
pulling
is different.
a leg length gun out of his pants to
That's
shoot.
campy.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
campy. Yeah.
that's campy.
Yeah. Or the fact that he's an artist, that they just makes him this weird like
He's crazy,
art guy.
man. You can't tell Joker what he is and isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it lends itself to, they lend themselves to the fact that Batman is adaptable to a lot of different things, and there are different aspects that come out depending on what you're interested in.
Right.
I think the Burton Batman movies are very over the top operatic kind of drama, you know?
Yeah.
Like you've got the Danny Elfman music that feels very operatic and big. His look is very iconic. It's there to make a visual statement, this big silhouette.
Yeah.
The Joker is this big character. They literally fight in the friggin' belfry of a gigantic Gothic church at the end. It has a very operatic and huge feel to it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Nolan movies are a little bit more, well, the first one's a little bit more down and dirty, and then they get a little bit more, technical and weird.
Yeah. So at the end of 89, did Batman kill Joker intentionally?
He didn't save him.
Well, he tried to. Like, he grabbed his hand, he tried to pull him back up, but either he slipped or Joker let go.
He doesn't.
It's important how it's handled because...
Not really, because earlier in that scene, he straight up kills a dude by when he's fighting those guys in the belfry, and he throws that guy down the hole where the bell goes.
Yeah,
that guy's dead.
Yeah, he slams his head into the bell. And
then he ankle throws him down the hole.
I always thought that Joker's hanging off a building. If he falls, he'll plunge to his death. Batman makes an effort to reach down and grab his hand. He's not grabbing his hand to make him let go of the building to drop the Joker. He punches him and he falls over the edge of the building. Right. And then he and Vicky Vale go and look over, and Joker grabs them and pulls them over. And then while they're hanging there, Joker leans down and says, "Let me lend you a hand." Oh, right.
And then he pulls the fake hand off.
Right.
And he says, "Sometimes I just kill myself."
Right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then he's being a dickhead up there while they're hanging on the thing.
And Batman uses his
Yeah, he hooks his leg to the gargoyle.
right.
Yeah. So I mean,
he can't escape.
He can't escape.
So does he kill him though? Intentionally kill him?
I wouldn't say he intentionally kills him.
Right.
But he does cause his death.
Yeah, but this is an important difference here. Like, I'll grant it. That one guy in the bell tower, Batman fucking killed that guy.
And also all the guys in Axis Chemicals when he drives the Batmobile in their remote control and blows the whole place up.
Batmobile did that. No, you're right.
Batman takes a few lives in that movie.
But I feel like if they really wanted to have Batman kill Joker, they would have just had him pummel the Joker, throw him off the...
Yeah, I mean, well, with the exception of the guy who gets tossed down the hole, the people that get quote-unquote killed, it's, you're not seeing...
You don't see it.
You don't see a bullet in the head,
Yeah. And this is a discussion of this Batman kill, which we could go on for an hour about that.
Yeah.
But I guess as a kid, I thought they seemed to go through hoops to make it so that Batman did not exactly directly kill Joker. Mm-hmm. But in the Batman 89 Nintendo game, the very end of it, I think I sent you guys a clip because I finally beat it. He literally just throws Joker off the top of the building.
Remember that.
And there's a pink pixel that's just like, just fucking dead. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't think a lot of people beat this game because I feel like I would have heard more pushback being a Batman artist.
Yeah,
right at this point.
why beat around the bush?
I know.
You just throw him off the building. Yeah. That's disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Batman kills thing, it's funny how I totally forgot how many times Batman is murdered in all of these movies.
Yeah. I mean, he's never generally put a gun to somebody's head and like shot them.
Yeah.
But there have been instances in which, well, except for that time in Batman Returns where he strapped that bomb to the guy's chest.
And smiles and walks away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows? Who knows what that bomb actually did? It could have just
had
been
glue
confetti.
in it.
Yeah,
it's confetti and glue.
Yeah, confetti bomb. I think it's that argument is a result of modern fandom stuff where it's like
Arkham Asylum.
And people don't. At the time, there wasn't this massive understanding of what Batman should or shouldn't do. It was just it's Batman, whatever. He's a hard ass.
Yep.
He's not out there with guns shooting people, so close enough.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
So what do you feel is the legacy of Tim Burton as far as Batman goes? And also superheroes in general, because I think he has a pretty big imprint on a lot of superheroes.
For us, huge, but for younger people, I'm meeting more and more that have never seen that movie.
Yeah.
Like readers of mine who I think are about my age are not my age, and maybe it's just because I'm getting older. But I've noticed that even when I listen to podcasts, people reviewing my book, they'll say the name Jack Napier.
Like they've never heard it said out loud?
You've never seen the original, have you?
Yeah.
Like you just read it off a page and you were pronouncing it. I don't know if that's wrong, but that's how they pronounce it. So I'm like, I get it. You're probably a millennial. I'm not, shitting on millennials. But I'm noticing a generation gap because nobody takes the Schumacher stuff seriously. There's a good, 8-year chunk missing from Batman movies. And most people pick up at Nolan and Arkham. Yeah. Whereas you and I picked up at 89, basically. Yeah. So there's an interesting sort of generational shift that's happened.
Yeah, I think his legacy is lessening, as I think you're saying. Yeah. But I think for a long time, he, for better or worse, defined what superheroes looked like on film.
Yeah, he did.
Because every superhero costume had that. It was like a really bad approximation of the Burton Batman, where it had the big brow, cast the big shadows and was plastic looking and stuff. Which I honestly thought when Watchmen came out, the costumes were so similar to that I thought that it was supposed to be some sort of like commentary. Yeah, pretty sure it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right. They did have a very Burton look to them.
Yeah, they look very old school 90s superhero movie.
Like matte plastic.
Yeah.
Looking. Yeah.
But
interesting. I never thought about that.
I don't think that was the point that they were going for. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
and like when the Flash the Flash show came on TV.
Oh yeah,
he looked he had a very Burton-esque costume, and this music was, I think, Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman has been doing comic book soundtracks for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
He did the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. He did the first Hulk movie.
Yeah. I think that the legacy of Burton is very solid if you're a film person. If you know what you're talking about, if you study this, you can't study the 80s of filmmaking without studying Batman.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty solid. But for casual fans, casual readers, listen, whatever, yeah, a lot of them have skipped Burton at this point, but they don't realize that Arkham Asylum and these movies are directly related to the the hit that was '89 Batman. Yeah. And you wouldn't have had that Batman without Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was a kid and this came out, and I wanted to see it. And I wasn't a giant Batman. I was a Spider-Man kid. But hey, a superhero movie. Yep. Awesome. Mm-hmm. My parents bought me the cereal.
Oh, that cereal was great. It was like Captain Crunch, but it was Batman.
Very yellow. Right? Yeah. And my parents are like, I don't know, it's kind of dark. And one of the reasons they didn't want to take me to see it, they're like, well, it's kind of dark. There's no Robin. I'm like, wait, even as a kid, I'm like, that's
mark of quality, whether or not Robin is in it.
I guess there's not a Robin to like lighten it up. But yeah. I don't remember if I saw it in a theater on tape. I remember the first opening credits where the camera's traveling through these like these stone hallways. You're like, what the hell am I looking at? And finally they zoom out and you realize you've been looking inside the bat symbol as stone. And as a kid, I'm like, oh my God, that's a symbol. Like that literally figuratively blew my mind. Yeah. And I remember loving a lot of it. I did the Joker frying people and being violent like that. Like I didn't love that stuff. That was hard to, even as a 9-year-old or whatever. But yeah, I remember like Batman symbols. People were sketching them on sketchbooks, drawing them on their baseball hats. And I remember we had a Batman fan club in 3rd grade. That shit took over. People were getting haircuts with Batman symbols in the side of their head. Sweet. Yeah.
I should do that for the next show I go to.
Yeah, it was a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's... I'll be interested to see how it's... Well, I mean, I think it's even now starting to get more shit thrown at it. I mean, it's become hip to hate on Chris Nolan's Batmans now, so I think it's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, for various reasons, but the pendulum is starting to swing.
Even the first two?
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe on Twitter, but in the real world.
Yeah, Twitter is in real life. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how it holds up over a longer period of time, because I mean this is actually the 30th anniversary.
30th anniversary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had an interesting thought. How excited would you be if I told you that this is going to happen? Mm-hmm. Tim Burton is directing Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton as old Batman and I don't know, some actor. If let's say Tim Burton was coming back to direct Batman again, he was doing Batman Beyond.
Robert Pattinson as Terry McGinnis.
Sure, why not? I would be excited about that. I don't think it would be great, but I'm like, that is interesting.
I don't know. I would be happy about the casting. At this point, I don't know.
I've never seen Burton do sci-fi, like kooky, hot topic sci-fi.
Yeah, I get it. All depends, I mean, like the last handful of movies he's made are just
Can somebody please?
They don't
put a
have the
leash on this
fire.
Guy?
Yeah, they don't have the fire if you want to call it fire.
No,
they don't have that hot topic fire.
It's become a how do we reel you in exercise.
Yeah. It's good.
Oh, great. You want Johnny Depp. Awesome. We're never reeling you in.
I didn't realize until fairly recently that he directed Dumbo.
Yeah.
And I mean, that should
have has Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton in it.
Yeah, that should have gotten me to see that movie, but I did not see it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested. I think Michael Keaton coming back to Batman would be a bigger geek out for me than Tim Burton coming back to Batman.
I agree.
Because he's perfect age for old Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it'd be so good.
I guess my
so good
thing with Burton is it's more style over substance. I'm a traditional type of 3-act structure writer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like dilly-dallying with scripts. Let's get to the point. Everything has to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Everything moves the story forward. And he seems to want to meander on things that are cool, but I don't know. I don't know what his legacy will be. If he'll be this kooky emo guy who gave birth to Wes Anderson at some point, or if he will be considered like I think Chris Nolan will be solidified as like a legit filmmaker.
Yeah.
I think Chris Nolan will age well. I think Batman '89 and Tim Burton, the style will be nostalgic. Some of the stuff will age well, but a lot of it won't.
Yeah.
Because the script just isn't there in a lot of.
Yeah, I
You want
think.
to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
Like, what?
No, yeah, honestly, the script for the first Batman is not very good. No. But I think the thing that makes it stand out, both of them, the first two, is that Tim Burton managed to connect with the weirder aspects of the characters.
Yeah.
The loner aspects
agree,
of
yeah.
Batman, or the weirdness of the Penguin, or the
Yep.
Joker and Catwoman. He connected to an element of those characters that I haven't seen anybody connect to since then.
Yeah.
As much as I liked Catwoman in the Chris Nolan movie, it's not as weird as the Tim Burton
doesn't
one.
stand out,
And it
yeah.
doesn't have the same kind of.
Yeah.
He just gets it on a different level.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, when Nolan's like, well, let's give her this headpiece that has kind of cat ears.
Yeah.
She's kind of a cat. Let's dumb it. Let's make her as non-Catwoman as we possibly can
Yeah.
to make it real.
Yeah.
And I felt like maybe just lean into it.
Yeah.
Just go for it. But Nolan can't do that as much because he has a very grounded vibe to his
Right.
movies, and Burton doesn't.
Yeah. Like even the Joker in Dark Knight is more out there than I was expecting him to be. I was
Right.
expecting him to be a lot more grounded.
Right.
Not that he isn't, but it's like he's still there's a lot of performance there that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of character than,
Right,
than
yeah.
the Joker in Tim Burton's Batman feels like an extension of Tim Burton.
Right.
He's this artist who is just gone off the deep end.
Right.
He connects on a different level that makes it stand out and unique.
Yeah. For me, the reason that '89 works so well is because the soundtrack's amazing, the visuals hold up, the casting is great, the acting is great. It has a lot of charm, a lot of great moments, one-liners, very quotable movie. Jack Nicholson's amazing. I guess the weakest part of it might be the script, but the script is fine. Like, it does what it needs to do. It's just, chasing him down, whatever, figuring out who this guy is.
Yeah.
A little bit of Batman's backstory.
Yeah.
That's what it gets by. That's why it means a lot to me, is that even the moments that are like slightly weaker, they still have a lot of charm in them. Like when Vicky Vale wakes up and Bruce isn't there and he's sleeping upside down or stretching on his like
So weird.
creaky, like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like I would never would have put that in if I was a director.
No.
You never would have gotten this movie out of me. And that's why I'm glad it was Tim Burton, because he gave us those quirky moments,
Yeah. And as much shit as it gets for it not being a quote unquote Batman movie, it has my favorite one of my favorite Batman things ever in anything. Which just is like 100% true to the character of Batman. When after he saves Vicky Vale and they're driving to the Batcave, and she tries to look at him, he turns the light on
The blinds
so she can't get a good look at him. That shit is great.
Yeah.
And when they get to the Batcave and he's standing, so he's only got like the Bela Lugosi lights on just his eyes. That stuff is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like that's Batman. That's more Batman than it's not who I am.
Yeah.
What's not what I do that defines me. It's not who I am underneath. It's
I
what
did
do
this voice for a while.
that defines me.
When I have to do long monologues, it becomes painfully clear this was a bad idea.
Like there's elements in that movie that are more Batman than anything they've ever put on screen.
Yeah.
But it's all down to a matter of preference, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's about it. We've determined that Batman '89 is the best Batman movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And next time, who knows what we'll talk about?
Who knows?
We'll be back
A
soon.
few more vodkas and we'll sort it out.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Batman video games.
Yeah. Ooh, that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.